Are you ready for this month's market update? Okay, so Portland metro area for August 2023. It's now September, but as everybody knows, we have last month's data at the beginning of the month. So let's talk about the Portland metro market area data according to RMLS. So we fell a little bit in inventory. I think what happened was, we're getting prepared for school. And so people are like, well, I don't want to also have to be taking my last vacation and preparing for getting my kids back to school. We'll wait until the kids are in school. It'll be easier for people during the day to schedule showings, yada, yada, yada. Or people were already moving out of their houses into the houses that they had purchased and getting the kids ready to go to school before going to market on the sale of their houses. So inventory dropped a little bit. We went from almost 2.5 months worth of inventory to 2.2 months worth of inventory. Again, if you don't know what that means, it means if there was no additional houses to hit the market from here on out, we would run out of houses on the market in a little over 2 months. So this is where it gets complicated, because talking about whether we're in a seller's market or we're in a buyer's market. So a balanced market, it's said a balanced market is when inventory is about 6 months. Well, we're not anywhere close to that, but interest rates are so high and inventory is so low that it's sort of a balanced market right now, even though those numbers don't quite compute. Here's why. Because interest rates are so high, the buyer pool is small, inventory is low, but we're not like running out of inventory that much faster because the buyer pool, people are kind of on hold right now. What are interest rates at? The last thing that I saw, interest rates for 30-year fixed conventional are in the 7s. And what else are we seeing? We're still seeing that in certain areas of our market, things are flying off the shelves. Multiple offers, selling over ask. And then there are these other houses that aren't staged. They aren't quite as dialed in. They're not in a super desirable location. They've been sitting on the market a little while. And what's the first thing everybody says now when something's been on the market for a while? What's wrong with this house? Maybe there's nothing wrong with the house. Maybe there's a lot wrong with the house. We don't know until we see it or ask the listing agent some questions. So depending on where you're looking, depending on what your price point is, depending on how dialed in you're looking for a particular home, depending on whether you want to put some sweat equity into it, whether you're kind of waiting for something that is on the market a little bit longer, it's all dependent. Real estate is the answer to everything is always, it depends. And it depends on a lot of things. So it's really important for me and you and your lender, if you're not paying cash, to sit down and figure out what your motivations are. Or maybe you're selling and you're going to buy outright afterwards. We need to get on the same page. I need to know specifically what it is that you're looking for, where, and why. And the reason why it's important is so that I can kind of gauge and bring down your expectations or let you know whether or not your price point, whether you're buying or selling, is really going to net you what it is you're looking for. I'm not here to blow smoke up your ass. What I'm here to do is help you understand the current circumstances that you are in today's market. Maybe you have one of those really desirable houses in a really desirable neighborhood that we can go in aggressively on a list price and not have to stay on the market very long and sell for more than asking and get you a beautiful deal. Or the flip side is that you're a buyer and you don't have a lot in a down payment. You are struggling to find something within your budget. Everything is going to be dependent on you and your circumstances and what your expectations are. And I am here to help you navigate those expectations, mitigate them if necessary, and understand what really can and cannot be done in today's market. We are seeing in certain instances of houses sitting on the market a little bit where sellers are accepting offers off the bat that are asking for concessions. What are concessions? Good question. Concessions are when you, as a seller, give any money to a buyer for any reason. Concessions would be money towards repairs. Concessions would be money towards buying down a rate. Concessions would be money towards closing costs of the buyers. And then on the flip side, there might be a buyer who is looking to purchase a house, and that house has multiple offers over asking price, and they're giving some concessions as well. Maybe they say, well, on top of our offer price, we will also pay for your closing costs. On top of this, like if we can get an appraisal waiver, we'll get an appraisal. That's not really a concession. I mean, it's like built into the whole thing, but you know what I mean? Like money exchanging hands for something outside of just the purchase price of the house is concessions. And appraisers ask this a lot after the fact. When they're appraising one particular house, they look at the surrounding similar houses and ask the listing agents, what sort of concessions did the sellers give the buyers? Were there any concessions? So that they can take that all into consideration when they're making their appraisals on the subject property. So, all very complicated. What am I seeing in the Portland metro area market right now? Well, all of the things that I just said. So there are certain instances where things are still flying off the shelves, still have multiple offers. If you're looking to list your house, one of the major factors that are going to help with this is staging. So some people think of staging just as you, as the current home owner, going in and decluttering and painting and blah, blah, blah. What I'm talking about is having a professional home stager come to your house and give you a consultation, something I'm willing to pay for, to help you present your home and market your home to the absolute best of your abilities. Because they're going to come in and they're going to tell you I have that ability too, but this is just going to be an additional professional eye that's going to come in and kind of back up my plan, which would be for you to get virtually everything that you can possibly get out of your house. I totally understand you have an emotional attachment to your house. The buyer stepping in needs to have the ability to have their own emotional attachment to the house. And the only way to do it is to make that house devoid of your personal belongings, devoid of your grandma and grandpa's pictures. And yes, even your religious paraphernalia. That is a big factor. You want it to be as neutral as possible so that you are marketing your house to the biggest buyer pool as possible. First impressions matter. We eat with our eyes, so you want to make sure that your house is dialed in as much as possible so that anybody looking online, because it's the first thing that they're going to do, right? They're not going to just get a piece of paper that says it's this many square feet, this many bathrooms, this many bedrooms on this big of a lot and be like, yeah, I want to see that house. What do they want to see? They want to see your floor plan and they want to see pictures of what the house looks like. And if you have mismatching furniture, if you've got bright colors in every single room, that's a turnoff. It's like, so sometimes you go to those restaurants where they have every single type of food on the menu that you can imagine. And you're like, what is going on here? How do I even choose? It gives them this idea that there's no cohesiveness, there's no coziness, there's no like curling up because you're just so overwhelmed by the amount of patterns and colors and uncohesiveness that is happening in the house. So you want to make sure your curb appeal is on point. You want to make sure that you are decluttered and like put everything away. If not, absolutely everything all moved and a home stager comes in and completely stages your house. That is possible. And we can talk more about that. On the buy side, be careful because sometimes that idea of home staging is like slapping lipstick on a pig. So an important thing for a buyer is making sure you're getting a home inspection by a trusted home inspector. I have 3 or 4 that I recommend that I've used on a regular basis, but it's totally your choice who it is that you use. You don't have to use one of my recommended people. You can go search your own. You can talk to all the people that you know, like, love, trust, and see who they've used. Maybe you have somebody in your family who is an inspector and you want to be able to use them. Totally fine. But do not, by any circumstances, skip the home inspection unless you're like a home inspector, you're a flipper, you've done this a lot, where you basically take the 30 minutes to get into the crawl space and go on the roof and do all the things that an inspector would do anyway and feel like you feel good about it. We are still seeing lots of repairs being asked for and paid for on the seller side. I am also seeing people ahead of time getting pre-listing inspections. So that's when the sellers pay for a home inspector to come in and give them all of the details that they find that could potentially impact the sale of your house, so that you have a good educated assumption as to what's going to come at you, and we can price accordingly. Also in this market, if you find a real estate agent who's like, this is your dollar, the market is so volatile. So I could come in, look at your house, compare it to everything that's on the market currently, everything that's sold recently, and have one range, maybe $20,000 range of what I think your house could go for in today's market. Then you do all of the things. Maybe it takes you a month, 2 months, 3 months, and the market shifts in some crazy fashion, dips or spikes, or, school just started. Maybe people are like, okay, summer's over. I'm ready. My house sucks. I need something new. I want to be in it before Christmas. And then all of a sudden, or interest rates drop. And then all of a sudden you have this huge pool of buyers coming in. And your home price is going to be different the day that we go to market. So this is something that we will constantly be revisiting, and it will be based on what repairs have you done? Is it staged? What's the market currently doing? Have there been other improvements that you've done on the house that you hadn't done prior to me coming and setting foot in the house the first time to get you that market analysis? So this is the update that I have for you right now, is that everything is dependent, but we can see that interest rates are high. Inventory is still low, but it seems like it's a balance here where there's just not a lot of activity as much as we have historically seen in these months of the year. And hopefully some things will change soon that will make it so things will improve a little bit, or people just get really used to this market where the interest rates are what they are, home prices are what they are, and we get that feel and kind of get into sync. And this is just the new normal for a little while until whatever it is that shapes the market. If it's interest rates that go down, somehow something happens where people are like, I need out, I'm moving, and there's a huge influx of inventory on the market. Any volatility like that can happen. It is an election year, so election years are always pretty interesting in the real estate world. But yeah, I am having sort of a thing where if you list with me in the next 30 days, I will pay to have a home stager come in and give you a consult. So if that's something you're interested in, please reach out. My information is below. And it's been here the whole time. Tamara Stone, Realty One Group, Prestige. Thanks for sticking with me, and happy real estating.